It's a beautiful winter morning here in Norway and we have had the BMW for 1 year. It's time to go through everything about this car in the first year of ownership. We are going to talk about the good, the bad. My fiance has made a list of things she likes and doesn't like about the BMW. So bring some hot chocolate and join me for a video about the BMW i3S. First of all, I want to mention that this is my fiance's car. We both use it, but she paid for it and it's her work commuter. So it's used to and from work, but we were also taking it on longer trips where we actually needed to DC fast charge it. So it's her experiences and my experiences and everything together. We are going to come up with a conclusion on this car. 1 year is a lot of time to test a vehicle and it's the proper way to do reviews. Long-term reviews are always the best. So let's talk about the BMW i3S. So let's go through the specifications. This car is fully option. It has, I think, almost all the options that you can get. So it has like a full leather interior. It's called Truffle. It isn't my favorite, but it's a premium option to have full leather in this car. You of course have automatic high beams with zones. Actually, it's not matrix, but it's 3 zones, I think. And it has like the sunroof. It has the Harman Kardon speakers. It really has a lot of options. It's a nicely optioned car. It's a 2019 model and it's the i3S, which means about 184 horsepower in the rear here. It's a 2019 model, so we have the upgraded motor mounts, which are metal, so it should be pretty solid. What you get with the i3S is also this styling, of course, on both sides. If not, it wouldn't have made any sense. And the badging here, of course. What else? You don't have fog lights in the front with the i3S or this new facelift kind of thing. You don't have, you don't have fog lights anymore. These are some kind of markers. Anyways, we are running winter tires, Nordic winter tires. Actually, in this case, it's Nokian Hakkapeliitta R3, I believe. Let's see, R3, yes, studless winter tires. And you can see that the tread pattern is good so far. I'm going to talk about tires in this video because it's a major expense for this car, actually. In the rear, we have a different set of tires, which is not recommended, by the way, but that's the way we do it, and that's Viking Contact Nordic winter tires in the rear here. I really want to go Nokian all around, but so far Nokian doesn't sponsor me, so yeah, I'll wait for that. I've done a modification here. New charging flaps, which are very, very nice, both for AC charging and DC charging. Yeah, I really like this product. It's from a shop called Wokeby.de or something, I don't know. Anyways, nice product. Yeah, so it's a 2019 model i3S in Imperial Blue. It's blue, you can't really see it in this light, but it's blue on black. Black, blue. You can maybe see the color a little bit here. I really wanted the Mountain Ridge Green, I think it's called. That's my favorite i3 color, but we got the Imperial Blue, which is also pretty nice and less boring than a grey car, I would say. You can see so much snow here. I'm going to talk about the snow capabilities of this car and absolutely everything. But first, let's go through the list that my fiance made about the 1 year ownership experience she has had with the car, because it's her commuter. The first thing my fiance actually highlighted to me about this car is its reliability. She feels like she can trust the car to start every morning and to get to the work destination. And I think that absolutely makes sense as a point. It is one of the more reliable BMWs ever made, actually. It has some issues that can happen. The 12 volt can die really easily without warning and stuff like that. But aside from that, in the 1 year ownership experience she has had with this car, this is a used car, by the way, so she has had zero problems with reliability. It has been a reliable car. And another thing she pointed out immediately is the turning radius of the car. It's so easy to park, especially in tight Norwegian parking garages. They are insanely small, the parking spaces in some of the garages, especially here in Western Norway. And yeah, it's just an amazing little small city car with an amazing turning radius. She also says that this car is fast, and I don't really agree with that. I don't think this is a really fast car, but it's much quicker than other types of combustion vehicles in this price category. And with the i3S you get a little bit more acceleration, you can turn off traction control to get like a little bit of wheel spin. It's a really fun car to drive. And it actually gets up to speed. There are no problems holding the speed limit anywhere in Norway. And yeah, it has just been a really fun car to drive. And I think it's plenty fast enough, especially for what type of car it is. And I think my fiance agrees with me when I say that this is a super fun car to drive. And that's what we have experienced throughout this year as well. Just extremely fun to drive. Physical buttons. So, physical buttons is something that this car is not lacking compared to my Tesla. So my fiance actually prefers to drive this one because of all the wiper inputs, the blinker stalk, which I think is the major gripe she has with the Model 3 Highland that I personally own. So she likes that you have physical buttons for the climate. Here it's very easy, intuitive, and you know what to press. It's always in the same position. The seat heaters, and yeah, not to mention the gear stalk is absolutely amazing. I think this is one of the best gear stalks ever. And I agree with my fiance that Tesla shouldn't have removed especially the blinker stalk. That absolutely sucked. So it's nice feedback from my fiance that we have the blinker stalk here, and that makes her actually prefer to drive this car over the Tesla Model 3. While we are in the interior here, she does like this kind of wood trim thing, the leather here, and the interior in itself is of actually pretty nice quality, I would say. It's not perfect, it's very different from other cars, but it's not that much use of like hard plastics that look cheap. It's kind of like more interesting materials. Fiber infused plastic thing here, and here you can see the carbon fiber reinforced polymer, which is part of the body structure. But anyways, the interior quality, this is real leather, it's olive tanned in a sustainable way. It has a pretty nice interior, I would say. The steering wheel is not my favorite, but my fiance likes it. And the gear stalk, as I mentioned, all the touch points here is soft plastic instead of hard plastic. It's yeah, it's actually a pretty nice interior, and that's something to complement with this car for sure. A lot of automakers that make these small cheap cars, they just cheap out on the interior. This one has one of the most interesting interiors for the price. It's a really fun interior, and of course a lot of physical buttons that we actually like. It's better than the Tesla, I would say. Yeah, so absolutely great to see. One thing she doesn't like is the technology, and by that I mean the app for the car. It's super slow, super unreliable, so it's difficult to preheat the car before getting into the car. So for example, if you're working and you're leaving in 30 minutes, you want to preheat the car. In the Tesla app, you just go in, press the climate thing, and it works every time. Here, the app suddenly won't load. When it loads, it's super slow to talk with the car. It takes like a couple of minutes just to connect to be able to send the command. It should be immediate. And once the climate is on in the car, it's actually very, very slow to get warm. I would say my Tesla is 3 times as fast as getting up to the temperature that you want. It always works. It's not something wrong with the heating in this car. I'm going to talk about that later because we had this car in for service actually. That comes later. Anyways, it works. It's perfectly fine, but it takes quite a while to get warm in here. And when you don't have the app access to actually preheat the car way in advance, which is needed with this car, it's not really a good combination because you will always get into a cold car and you always have to scrape the windows and you don't get the nice benefits of owning an electric car with such an unreliable app. It should just open up, press one button, and it should work every time. Of course, this car is built on older technology, but a lot of automakers today release apps like this, like Volkswagen and stuff like that. It's not really that old, the type of app technology that is in this car. I think it's just incompetence when it comes to software, unfortunately. So my fiancé actually wanted a Tesla Model Y first, because it's a super practical car, it's affordable in Norway, it has so much stuff for the price. It's a great car for the price. I personally don't like the looks of the Model Y or necessarily how it drives and stuff like that, but you can't deny that it's a new car bargain. A new car is never a bargain, really. But yeah, if you're going to buy a new car, the Model Y is just a new car bargain. So much space, a little bit higher ride height, you can tow with it. It's just has the awesomest technology ever. The app just works, autopilot is standard, fantastic sound system and stuff like that. But she chose to go for this one used because it was cheaper, of course. She didn't necessarily need the range of a Model Y, and also all the physical buttons that are lost in a Tesla. Even the Model Y has blinkers right now, but it's going away next year, for example. But I'm talking about a physical climate menu, physical seat heater buttons, which is used a lot in Norway, and the vents that you can just move around. And it was an absolute selling point that you have all kinds of stalks and buttons in this BMW i3, which made her look at this as an option instead of the Model Y. Of course, the Model Y can go longer. It has a ton more space. It's a whole different car, so it's kind of strange to compare the two, but the Model Y is actually pretty cheap in Norway. This is an expensive car in Norway when it was new, but now that it's used, depreciated like 40-50% before we bought it. So we got a great deal on this car, and yeah, so everything plays into this here. But of course, the navigation in the Tesla is just amazing. I love it. Navigation in this car absolutely sucks, but it's an older car, 2019. But even the Tesla system from 2019 is much better than this one. Way ahead of this one. So that's kind of embarrassing. But we have Apple CarPlay, which is, in my opinion, I don't like Apple CarPlay, especially since it connects to my phone and deletes all the audio from my videos. Please fix that, Apple. Anyways, I think Apple CarPlay is a nice compromise if your infotainment system sucks from the beginning. So, and this kind of sucks. So, Apple CarPlay is absolutely nice to have. Of course, everyone knows what Apple CarPlay is, but with a better route planner, you can actually integrate a live state of charge from the car into a better route planner in CarPlay, and you get kind of awesome, actually, route planning with very accurate arrivals and estimated range and stuff like that. So I think that's a nice compromise for sure. So you're wondering, how much did it cost to charge this car for a year? Well, that depends on how much you drive with this car. This car has gone about 10,000 kilometers in our ownership so far, and with the electricity price of around 130 øre per kilowatt hour, which is the local currency in Norway, of course, and an efficiency of about 150 watt-hour per kilometer, which is about the lifetime efficiency of this car, because it kind of calculates it different than the Tesla with all the preheating and stuff. It's around 150 watt-hour per kilometer, which is the lifetime efficiency of this car. We are at around 200 bucks for a year of driving with this car. 10,000 kilometers. I would say that's a great deal. And much cheaper than petrol or diesel, especially in a country like Norway. The warranty on this car ran out this spring. And what do you do when the basic limited new car vehicle warranty runs out? Well, you run a test of the car just to take it to a third party that runs through like a 100-point checklist of everything about the car, so you can get everything warranted before this type of limited new car vehicle warranty runs out, which is 5 years in Norway, or 100,000 kilometers in this case. But yeah, the 5-year usually comes first, depending on the driving length, of course. We ran it through the checklist, and there was really not that many faults. There were some things in the code, so I sent it. By the way, this test costs like 300 bucks. Then I sent it over to BMW, which I talked about. We got a drivetrain error on the car, but nothing really happened. And a combination of that and the test with a different like error codes, we sent it over to BMW just to have everything warranted if there was some warranty issues. And we actually got an updated software. It updated to a newer software, which actually was pretty great, because it usually costs money to get a dealer upgrades, but we got it for free due to the small error codes we had. So we paid nothing for that, but we paid 300 bucks for the test itself. Another thing we paid for is new tires, but not the winter tires. These are the stock winter tires that we got the car with, because they are different brands. I would never do that, but the people that owned this car before us did that. The new summer tires, we needed new summer tires in the front, and that was 500 bucks for 2 tires mounted on the car, and that was a bargain. Usually it's more expensive than that, but we got original Bridgestone Ecopia tires on the front, which are the 175 in width on the i3S. It's 195 in the rear on the summer tires, which are way more expensive. So I'm kind of curious on when we need to change those. 200 bucks in charging, 500 bucks in tires, and 300 bucks in like a warranty test. A test before the warranty runs out. I would say that's a pretty decent sum to pay for an old electric car. I say old, 2019, it's not that old, but it's a used electric car, and it's important to note that there can be expensive things to fix on an electric car as well. So it's nice to see that it has been so cheap the first year. And yeah, we have been really satisfied with the low costs of having this BMW i3S. Let's talk about long trips with this car. It has just 50 kilowatts fast charging. I wouldn't call that fast charging, but per definition, it's fast charging with 50 kilowatts. So it has a CCS port. You can charge on Tesla superchargers in Norway and Europe. You can get everywhere. You can drive from Norway to Portugal if you wanted in this car. No problem. It has 50 kilowatt fast charging, which is kind of slow, but for our use case, it has been fine. If you haven't watched the video where I actually drive this car all the way from Oslo to Bergen over a mountain pass and charging, I think, 3 times, you can watch that video to get a kind of view into how it is to take this car on longer trips. A commuter car needs to be able to go far, in my opinion. And especially since we have 2 cars, we have 2 people, maybe someone is using their car, and yeah, maybe my fiancé needs to go far in this car. Anyways, it has, of course, the largest battery, which is around 42 kilowatt hours gross. 37, 36 kilowatt hours usable. I can't remember right now. It's marketed as 120 amp hours. You just, of course, multiply that by the battery voltage to get the kilowatt hours, because that's the way BMW did market this car. In amp hours instead of kilowatt hours. Now they have to supply kilowatt hours in the information as well, but it wasn't like that before. Anyways, it's the largest battery ever put in a BMW i3. It doesn't have a range extender. I don't want the range extender. There are actually quite a lot of problems with the range extender, and it complicates the drivetrain. Hybrid drivetrains are, in my opinion, it doesn't really work for me, and I think the unreliability of hybrids absolutely suck. Something nice about the BEV, battery electric vehicle, that this is that it's super reliable. So few things that can go wrong. There are some suspension issues that can happen and stuff like that, but the battery seems to be very, very solid. It has a large buffer, so it doesn't degrade that much. The degradation of this car is around 6-7%. Now I think I'll just go through the things that I forgot to mention in this video. A little bit unstructured today. I hope you don't mind that. But let's talk about the small features that I really like about the BMW i3 and that I've experienced throughout this year, and that I can talk about, which are nice features, especially features that I don't have on my Tesla Model 3, for example. And the first thing is, of course, the rear wiper. It has a rear wiper. Isn't that awesome? The Tesla Model 3 doesn't have a rear wiper. It gets dirty. Automakers that say that this window will just, all the snow and dirt will blow off, are wrong. Rear wipers are nice, and it's nice to see, for example, the new Macan comes with a rear wiper, or you can option it for like 300 bucks. I would do that. A rear wiper is super, super nice to have. And myself, from testing this myself, especially city driving, is the turning radius is like insanely much better than the Tesla Model 3. The Tesla Model 3 turning radius absolutely sucks. So this one is super easy to parallel park. It's just such a nimble, fun, small little vehicle that you just can turn on a dime and park wherever you would like. And even the i3s, which is a little bit wider, you can see here. I should get some spacers for this car. The inset on the winter wheels are absolutely insane. The wheels should be here. Yeah, anyways, yeah, so it's just such a fun, nimble little vehicle. Something I want to mention as well is the cruise control here. The cruise control is here, of course. I forgot where it was. And you have just adaptive cruise control, which uses a camera, and we all know cameras get dirty and it doesn't work like the Tesla when the sun is just right on. But the cruise control in itself, when it works, is absolutely amazing and better than in the Tesla. Because when you pass someone, it'll actually speed up when you get into the passing lane. The Tesla will just slow down and wait until everything is ready. This car just gets on the throttle, BMW style, and just gets going, which is absolutely amazing. So I really like the adaptive cruise control in this car. It doesn't have lane centering. You can have lane centering if you're on the motorway and the speed is less than 60 kilometers per hour, but that never happens, especially in Norway. It needs to be like a multi-lane motorway, so we practically don't have lane holding, but we have a pretty great adaptive cruise control when it works, when the camera is clean. So if you're looking for a used BMW i3, please make sure that you get the one with the adaptive cruise control. I think it's an option. Something I also personally like is the space. And you might say, oh, it's a small car, it doesn't have a lot of space. Well, it's surprisingly large here, actually. If you saw my Volvo EX30 review, I think this one has, it seems like it has about the same amount of usable space. I don't know, it's kind of difficult to gauge from here when I don't have the cars side by side. But of course, it just looks like there is more space, and I feel like I can fit a lot of things in here. And for sure I can fit things in here that don't fit in my Tesla. This has happened 3-4 times the last year. We had a large Traeger grill which we needed to transport in the BMW i3 because it wouldn't fit in the Model 3, because it's a sedan of course, but just look at this space and it's kind of square. So here you have like a camera tripod for a measurement here. Sorry about the bad measuring unit, but you can see you have a ton of space. You can put the seats down and you have even more space. So I would say this car is spacious, and it's larger than it looks on the outside. It looks like a small car because they designed it to look small, but it isn't that small. I feel like it's larger than a Toyota Yaris, for example, and much more space than a Toyota Yaris. The only problem is that you of course have the suicide doors, which makes getting out of the rear seats in a parking garage practically impossible. Oh, your speakers in the rear, that's quality for sure. While we are back here, you might ask, why do you have de-icer in the rear? Well, when you open the doors here, the windows go down a little bit, like you can see. And when you close, the window goes up. And you might ask, okay, that works fine. Well, sometimes the whole window mechanism freezes and the window won't lock. So I just spray a little bit of de-icer here, and it seems to work pretty okay, especially when you preheat the car, which again, you have to do from the key fob because the app absolutely sucks and is super unreliable, unfortunately. So I have programmed this key to actually preheat the car. So I just hold that key down and then the car will preheat. And together with some de-icer, this isn't really a problem in the winter anymore. My Tesla also has windows like this, but it seems to have a stronger motor because it fails. It never fails to really get the windows down in the winter. Sometimes it's a little bit finicky, but it's much more reliable than the BMW i3s at getting the windows down in the winter. But this is the case with all frameless doors in the winter. Thank you so much for watching this video about the BMW i3s. 1 year and the experience has been great. There has been low costs of ownership, and I've talked about my fiance's things that she likes with this car instead of my Tesla. Small fun electric car. I also have to mention that this is extremely fun to drive. I love how small, nimble and a little bit fast this car is, and yeah, it's a great car. It has been a great buy for us, and I hope that if you're looking for a BMW i3, that you can find one with the options you want, in the color you want. There are some crazy interiors, like the light Giga interior, which I actually prefer over the truffle interior in this car. So much fun, these cars. It's unfortunate that they are out of production, but there are some great used deals to be had on this car. And I also want to shout out Wisely Automotive. Wisely Automotive. It's a YouTube channel and garage in the UK, which specializes in repairs and everything on the BMW i3s and the i3, of course. Please check out their YouTube channel. They are so knowledgeable about this car, way more than me. And I watched them a ton before making a buying decision on this fun, small, rear-wheel drive, carbon fiber reinforced polymer, monocoque, fun electric car. Thank you so much for watching, and you will see me in a video very, very soon.